Three and two and one and showtime. Here we are. Welcome everybody. Hi Carmen. We are in business. We're live and bunch of people should see us now. So hi bunch of people.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be here with you tonight or this morning, depending on where the audience is. So thank you all for joining. Alice, thank you so much for having the idea of having this chat that, we are going to have a friendly conversation and hopefully many people are going to join us to hear us talk about confidence.
That's right. We're gonna keep it friendly. We'll try. We might have disagreements, but we're gonna keep it amicable. So I guess what we want to do first is I want to say hi to everybody. I'm originally from Czech Republic, so I'm gonna say ahoy or dobrý den. And Carmen, what's your mother tongue actually? I don't think I know.
You don't? Yeah, that's right. My mother tongue is Romanian. So,
Nice.
and it's evening there. So I would say bună seara, salut, that's in Romanian. Yeah, I would really welcome everyone who has joined to greet us. And by the way, shall we share the secret that we cannot see them unless they comment? I think
Oh,
that's a
that's a
good
good
one.
one. That's a
Yeah?
good one. It's not
Okay.
secret anymore. Okay,
It's
tell
not a
us more,
secret.
Carmen.
Exactly. I'm so honored that you decided to join. So feel free to drop a comment and greet us in your own language. I can see Maria has joined. Hola, Maria. Maria is Spanish. I know her personally. She's a dear friend of mine. Salut, Ramona. That's a friend as well. Moin, Mina. Very nice. Goedenavond. I would say in Dutch, which is not, which is a different language. I think some colleagues and clients of mine may join from the Netherlands as well. Hello, everyone. We have Priya. Yeah, lots of people. Oladele. Oh, that's an interesting language. Bavoni. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. So anyway, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever the time of the day is on your side of the planet. It is an honor and a pleasure that you have joined us today. And I wanted to officially thank Alesh for having this idea for us to talk. It was a very simple idea born on a Saturday evening when we were both on LinkedIn, and we said, you know what, we have a background of collaborating very well on events. And by the way, if you're not following Alesh, you are missing out big time. So while I'm doing this talk, feel free to multitask. Go to LinkedIn, go to Alesh's profile, and make sure you click follow because he is the best event designer you are ever going to work with. So if you ever need someone to design your events from A to Z, to give you the confidence to run it well, all the ideas, and also engagement. He's the guy. Now, Alish, I've I've praised you
Carmen, I thought
enough.
you're
This
not
was
gonna
not
make me
planned.
blush. You're making me
Now
blush at the beginning of the stream, not at the end. I mean,
you owe me a coffee now, right?
I do, I do. Maybe multiple, depends. But you know what I think we owe to the audience already is to give them something of the content. So, of course, Carmen's amazing as well. We're gonna talk about her most of the time and about what she does for her clients and beyond. But what I want to start with, because I've been selling this to a large extent as public speaking skills and the way you
Mm.
can prepare. And we've been chatting with Carmen before we kind of went live, and she actually excused herself for 2 minutes and she said, I need to do my power prep. Can I just walk away for 2 minutes? And I think this will be actually useful for everybody because it's about confidence, it's about strength. I have my own routine. Carmen, why don't you share with us what were you doing for the 2 minutes? What was it?
Yeah, so you make me spill all my secrets from the very beginning, which I'm fine with. Feel free to comment in the chat, everyone, if you have a power preparation. I'm so curious to hear it. I actually have different ones depending on the type of engagement that I'm supposed to do. So right now for this event, I basically have a very short one that goes into, I'm going into a zone, as I call it. I work with my mind a lot. And basically, I'm going to a zone where I visualize. Okay. It may sound a little bit woo woo, which I'm fine to unpack a little bit later if you're going to ask me, Alish. But basically, what I did is I walked away for 2 minutes and I did a visualization where I saw a lot of people joining, a lot of people interacting with us while you ask me questions that I can answer. And, everyone in the audience can walk away with at least one really good idea that they can implement immediately. And then I always use my power song. So this is a tip that I'm using a lot in coaching, especially when clients are dealing with anxiety, a little bit of self-esteem issues, or they just need to boost their mood. I ask all of them to choose a power song. Okay, so not one of those romantic ones that make you cry or make you feel that you cannot live without a partner. Not one of those, but one that has a really good rhythm, a really nice tune that lifts your mood up. So my go-to song is actually, and it's so interesting that this is happening. My power song is actually from Tina Turner. Unfortunately, she passed away yesterday. A really really awesome artist, and it is, of course, "You're Simply the Best." So I just walked away, visualized us, said to myself, "You're simply the best," because that's an amazing confidence booster. And then I came back. So that's my routine. But I would be really curious, if other people in the audience have other topics to share, other tips to share for preparing for anything that is, exposing yourself publicly. I would be so curious to see it in the
Love
comments.
that. And I love the song. So if you have a power song, share it in the comments with us. We want to know what it is. If you have something else you do before showtime, tell us as well. It could be something that's helping you. It could be something that's not helping you. Maybe it's, sit in a corner and cry, and that's what you do. But we want to know, and we're gonna start from there. And I think I didn't know about Tina passing, so I'm sorry about that. We can make
Mm,
this, a tribute call and
mm,
to amazing Tina. And I'm thinking actually what you shared is that's what I do as well when I run sessions. Actually, even for larger audiences, I play
mhm.
music at the beginning. And here's the secret: if you've been in one of my sessions, don't tell anybody. I say that I do it for the people so they're energized. It's a lie. I do it for myself. I play the song that I like, and what I highly recommend, and I think it's very important, not just for public speaking, but for any potentially stressful situations when you might be dealing with fear, is really listen to what your body is telling you. So energizing yourself through motion, through music, that's a great way, and that's great when your energy is low. I would give one more tip that works for me when the energy is kind of jittery, when you are, shaky, you don't know what to do. You've probably heard about Wim Hof and Wim Hof's breathing techniques. One thing you can do is you can work with your body to calm down, activating what is called your parasympathetic system. And the way you do it, you use short inhales and long exhales. The long exhales actually calm you down. It's a technique used if you want to do, diving in an icy lake or something like that, which I tried. This was the only way that allowed me to do that. So depend if you want to put your energy up or down, work with your breath, work with your body, move, whatever you need to do.
That's an awesome tip, Alesh, and it's so important. And I really like the fact that you brought it up. What I've discovered last week, so fairly recently, and it's heavily backed up by science. I have a really good connection on LinkedIn from New Zealand who feeds me with all the latest researches on this topic. It was scientifically proven that actually the breath work is much more effective for relaxation than meditation. So I'm not sure if our audience knows this, but breath is really really important. And if you are curious to start, I think box breathing is one of the methodologies that is very very simple. It's very easy to apply in 10 seconds, and it's so easy to calm any nerves, especially before events, before important meetings, before, or even calming yourself before your child has done something and before you shout or before you react in any situation. Box breathing. So go ahead and Google it. It's really interesting. A very simple technique that is based on exactly what you said, on calming down our nervous system.
That's right. And sorry, I got carried away. I'm looking at the power songs people are using in here.
I
Imagine
was
Dragons,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's a good one.
that's a
So
good one. I don't
yeah,
know
so
now.
we see, I have the comments are on my right, so I can actually see what the comments, and this is why my eyes are just going there, not because I don't pay attention, it's because it's so interesting to see all the comments. We have hello from Portugal. Yeah, breath exercises are highlighted as well. um, Someone dropped a link from YouTube that works for them. I cannot click on it, but hopefully this helps our lovely participant in the attendance. Survivor from Destiny's Child is another one. Yeah, I've also heard a lot. I Love My Life from Robin Williams, if I'm saying the name correctly.
I
And
think so.
there is also a new Megan. I don't remember the name. I'm really bad with artist names nowadays. But there is a very catchy song that is called "I Made You Look." That's the chorus, and this is what one of my recent clients is actually using. He is a video editor for YouTube videos. So, and it's a special message because I made you look. It means that clients are going to his audio. So that's really really nice.
Sounds like a cool job to have, actually. Yeah, I was looking down, jotting down because I don't want people to kind of go and Google things like breathing right now. So I'm just gonna show you right now.
Oh,
It's
nice. Yeah.
basically shows like a box, and each side of the box is 2 seconds. So you inhale for 2 seconds, then you pause, hold your breath for 2 seconds, exhale 2 seconds, and pause again for 2 seconds. It's called box breathing because of this. So one of the techniques that Carmen mentioned, test it out.
It's very effective. Yeah. You presented it the best. I couldn't have not done that. So thanks for that, Alish. Really helps. All right.
So I see we had some tips. We were talking about, how to prepare for showtime, but actually we want to broaden the conversation because
Hmm.
this is not about public speaking exclusively. It's not even about public speaking predominantly. It's about the confidence. It's about showing up in any situation you might find yourself in. And these techniques are actually universal. As you notice, probably what you mentioned so far, it is applicable in wide range of situations. So what I like to actually do, I'd like to provide some credibility here a little bit. I'm going to ask Carmen to tell us what are the clients she works with, how does she support them, because that will bring us to the kind of next level of our conversation.
Awesome.
So why don't we actually start with that? Um, and of course, I want to say, of course, before we go into that, if you have questions, comments, any ideas, drop them in the chat, in the comments. We are keeping an eye on that. We will pick them up as we go. So, Carmen, formally, how are you helping leaders?
Oh,
Why are your customers seeking you? What are you solving for them?
look at you. You're making it really fun for me. So I really appreciate that, Alish. Yeah. So how am I helping people? Leaders are people. I actually help them get things done with confidence and ease. Okay, that's my presentation in one sentence. My professional background is actually process improvement, project management, but what I find is that after behind every professional there is a human, and I really like to look at
Mhm.
that human side of an individual. So my clients actually come a lot with challenges around these areas. Getting things done has a lot of different legs in procrastination, in stress, in overwhelm, um, some anxiety there, and then I basically through our work together we managed to decompose that and peel the onion, go to the root cause using various techniques because I'm actually a certified coach. I'm also an NLP practitioner. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, not Natural Language Processing. If we have any IT passionates in the audience, so NLP practitioner, what that actually means is using the words that you use intentionally so that you prime your mind for success. So being careful about what you speak about. And I'm also a hypnotherapist. So I combine all these methods, so coaching, neurolinguistic programming, and hypnotherapy to basically go to the root cause of my clients' problems and help them solve them sustainably. So yeah, that's what I do in a nutshell.
Oh, God, you know this was coming. I wanted to know a little bit more, and I could wait. But actually, no, I couldn't wait. I want to know now. So the most of the topics you covered, I can hear them every now and then. There are people doing them, and I know them. But I think you're the one and only hypnotherapist that I know.
Mm.
What does that entail? Do you have this pocket watch, and how does that look like? How is that helping your customers? How is that helping the people you're serving to actually achieve what they want to achieve?
I'm impressed that you actually know one of the techniques to hypnotize people. So that's the pendulum technique, and indeed it works. I don't personally use it because I'm not very fond of it. So I use another imagery technique. I just wanted to ask the audience because I'm so curious if they have been hypnotized and they want to share. I'm really curious what their experience has been like, because what I get a lot from my clients is it's not that spectacular, right? So it's not very unusual. There are various techniques to do the induction. It's called, it's basically making your brain go into wavelengths that allow it to be very relaxed. Now, what's the idea behind it? When we are 100%, working, we are in our so-called beta brainwaves. I'm not going to go into too many specifics because I don't want to bore people, but basically when we are wide awake, we are very rational, and we also have all our filters, our social filters, on. Meaning, I know it would not be polite for me to tell you, Alex, don't sip your beverage while I'm talking, right? Because that's not polite. So I'm
And you
not going
just
to say
did.
it, okay? I'm not going to say it, yeah? All, even if it bothers me, because I know that is not socially acceptable, because I have my social filter on, okay? What hypnosis does, it actually allows the mind to go into a level, so the brain waves go on a lower frequency, meaning that the entire system relaxes. And then those filters that we consciously have built are basically disabled. And you can go directly to the subconscious of the individual. Okay, and here is there will be the question. So, are you going to control my mind? No, that's not something that happens in hypnosis. But basically, the individual that is in this hypnotic state is much more receptive to suggestions and much more receptive to sharing things that are not in the conscious memory. So there are memories that come in this subconscious state that can be from the very early childhood that the individual does not even remember consciously. It's a lot of memories of scents, of noises, of just a picture like a snapshot. And how does this hypnotherapy work actually? Is when you go down to this state, the filters are off, and then the individual can actually go down to the root causes of their issues. Yeah, I'm not confident. Why am I not confident? Well, we can find out very quickly in hypnosis that when you were 5 and you were in kindergarten and you had to be part of to say a poem, for example, that the other children made fun of you, and you are left with unconscious memory that if I come in front of an audience, I'm going to fail, and all the others are going to laugh at me. I'm not going to be accepted, therefore I'm not going to do it, right? So then we go to this, and then of course that's a dissociation that needs to follow afterwards. So because we need we I basically break that connection from the with the old memory and put something else better in its place. Because what happens is our mind is always listening, and if we don't fill the empty space with something that is constructive, the brain is going to do it anyway, and it's not going to be something that you can control. So we put in we replace this belief that I cannot do it with I can do it, and then we spiral back up, and then we I empower the individual. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I didn't go into too many details, Alish.
No, well, absolutely not. I'm thinking now of my childhood memories, and maybe I'm gonna need your help, you know. And that's another secret, you know. I prefer virtual events because I can mute the laughter of my audience, you know, if there is any, and or just not allow microphone rights. But this is super interesting. I just want to make sure, and this is for all of you who are watching. I want to make sure that we are covering the topics that are relevant for the audience. So. Please put in the comments whatever you want us to talk about, because Carmen, she actually told me before we started, like, oh, I have so much to share, I have so much content, so much thing that can help people, and we wanna focus on what you actually need right here, right now, rather than what the two of us think that is useful. So guide us through the questions. We're gonna pick them up as we go.
Indeed.
Um, Actually, you know, I'm gonna build on what you said, Carmen. I had what helped me, and I don't. I'm gonna take the risk that is gonna sound like the woohoo. I was working several times with a person who specializes on what he calls emotional resolution. So in a similar way, he's actually trying to bypass all these rational filters, right? These sedimental layers that our consciousness built on top of our traumatic experiences, and allowing me or his clients to access them. And it's actually much easier to approach these, let's say, deeply buried fears from that state than trying to rationalize with them. You can't. I mean, my coach is saying you can't argue with your fear. You, I mean, it's not about arguments, right? You can't win the argument over your fear. The fear will come back.
Yeah, that is so true. And I don't think, we always have fears, and I don't think, you can actually get 100% rid of the fear, but it's a matter of doing it scared. One of my mottos is do it scared. You are scared, that's fine. Just embrace it, face it, and just do the things that you need to do. And sometimes it's more difficult than others. But then, if you build around yourself a support system from not only other people but within yourself, that support, that resilience, that grit that you need, then it's going to be much easier.
Got it. So, you know, I like to actually talk about how are your clients approaching you, and you know, what are they seeing as potential underlying problem. I know that many of your clients are coming from corporate environment. They might have this, rigor and upbringing in, asking the five whys, looking for root cause in this very analytical way. But there might be some misconceptions about how to approach the topic of confidence, the topic of fear, the topic of self management. And the way I like to phrase it is, when people come to me for event organization,
Mhm.
for event design, usually they come up with a problem, but they are not asking the right questions. They are worrying about things that are not that tricky. For example, what platform are we going to use? Are we going to use Zoom? Are we going to use something else? Are we going to use Google? Are we going to use Teams? And they are not asking the questions that they actually should be asking. So, Carmen, how is it for people working with you? If the leaders are approaching you, they might have a conception and something will be an easy fix. Something will be simple, right? You're going to fix it like that in one session, but it actually might be complex. It might require some deeper work. What would be examples of these issues?
Mhm. Yeah, there are there are such examples in the day-to-day life, because there are many situations when people think that you can build things overnight. People only see the results, but they don't see the effort that is behind those results. And it's normal, because we are wired to look at aspirational stuff. So everyone sees the success, but they don't see the effort behind it, right? Confidence, everyone sees the result. No one actually knows the effort behind it. So, I have had executives coming to me and saying, I only need one session, to, because I have a meeting coming up. I need to all of a sudden present to 200 people in person, never done this before, and I need to be perfect, which is, with all due respect, not possible the first time around. I mean, you can do it. Will you do your best? No, because you don't have the practice behind it. So, when we think about confidence, I think, going back to how you can unpack it is to realize that it requires patience and it requires practice. A lot of practice that will depend a lot on your personality. But last and not only that, you also have to be crystal clear as to what do you want. That is the most important thing, because confidence is very environment driven. What I mean by that is one individual can be confident in one area but completely anxious or depressed in others. Okay? For example, you may be an excellent driver, you can drive your car really, really well, but then you are really anxious about cooking because that's not your area of expertise. You can be very, very well in presenting online, but then you are very scared in running a meeting that is online. So there are those differences. So confidence is very context based. And then you really need to put the effort where your priorities are. So depending on what you want, that's how you can focus on what are the next best steps for me. For example, if you want to become a big leader, leading a large teams, that come with a lot of people in your teams. It means that at some point in your career, you will have to speak to more than two people. Okay? Everything that is, so anything, any exposure of yourself to more than two people is public speaking. Okay? So I'm not sure if you knew this, Alesh, but this is a really good mental model to have. If I talk to you right now, it's a one to one. But because we have so many lovely people that are at home giving us their time and attention, commenting, following us. It's it is public speaking. Yeah, at work when you speak one to one is just it's a different connection than hosting a team meeting or meeting two or three of your peers to discuss about something, right? So then you really need to figure out, okay, if I want to run large teams, I want to be a director at some point, I will be exposed to these interactions. So then you need to build gradually. Why? Because the mind really learns by repetition, by practice. So for confidence, the first thing is exposure and practice. That's the first thing. And then you realize, oh, I'm not good enough. And that's when a lot of people stop because they say, oh, I'm not good at this. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. And why is that? Because they compare themselves to others, not knowing the journey that has been behind, not knowing their starting point and what efforts the other people have done. They look at how the feedback that others offer them, and then they get overwhelmed and completely shut down. This is something that I get in probably 9 out of 10 of my clients because we are so used to looking outside of us. It's so easy to change our mood and change the dynamics because of the feedback that we receive or comparison with others. But when you actually start inside out, that's when the trick happens. Because confidence, you cannot, it's not measurable, okay? It's not something that you can measure. It's a very subjective feeling. It's going to be different. My definition of confidence and my level of confidence is going to be different than yours, Alesh, different to anyone else's in the audience, right? So then it's a very subjective experience. You need to start from within. And then how do you start it? Just by being kind to yourself. It's as simple as that. It's simple. It's not easy. Okay? I'll stop here. Maybe you have
No, I like that. And
other questions.
there's a lot of stuff to pick
Hmm.
actually in there, and as you mentioned, the confidence, it's not something objective in this sense. When you're working with a client, I'm assuming that part of the questioning would be, what does confidence mean to you? How would you
Hmm.
know you are there?
Exactly.
Because for some people it means showing up in certain way, but if you watch interviews with some even famous actors, many of them have stage fright. So do you want to look confident or do you want to feel confident? It may be the same, it may not.
It is actually a good point that you're bringing, Alish, because I was asking my audience on LinkedIn quite recently. An interesting question that sparked a lot of debate. Can confidence be faked? Can you learn it? And some answered, no, you need to be born with confidence. And it is true. As babies, we are born with unshakable confidence. Okay? Probably there are parents in the audience. Okay? And you've had small children. And when they started learning to eat, they would just take a banana and stick it in their mouth and then next to their mouth, in their ear, in their hair. Would they be concerned about this? No, they would still smile, right? Because they were confident in what they were doing. Every child, when they start walking, they fall a lot of times, but they stand up because they are not wired to give up. They are confident. But then society comes in and starts telling us, don't do this, do that. Look left, look right. We learn a lot by vicariant observation, meaning looking at others, and then that's where we start putting those filters in. Yeah, so it is quite interesting to see this way of evolving. But in the end, confidence is not that complicated, but it all starts with from within.
I like it. I like it a lot. I would recommend the book. I'm kind of halfway through now, but it's amazing. It's a famous book called Inner Game of Tennis,
Hmm.
which is about the mental approach, well, to the game of tennis, of course, but to life essentially. And the author is actually talking about a child trying to learn how to walk,
Hmm.
and what's important and making it easy and actually achievable for the child is the child doesn't judge itself.
Hmm.
Am I doing it right?
Hmm.
Am I doing this right? And as adults, we don't have this gift anymore. We are looking at, do I look confident?
Hmm. Yeah.
The child doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. And you can fake it up to a certain extent. The challenge with confidence, there is a balance between faking it and actually being confident, because when you fake confidence in an area of where you don't have the expertise, that's when you can only go so far, because people around are very clever, and at some point in time they are going to catch you that you are just faking it. So this is why it's a delicate balance between feeling confident and building the skills that make you confident. Okay, because
Yeah,
besides that feeling of confidence, you really need to have skills to back things up. Otherwise it's not going to work long term.
exactly. The long term is key here, I believe, because it's fake it till you make it. You can think of it as stretching to a band-aid, or let's say you exercise
Mm.
to kind of strengthen your muscles. If you break them down a little, that's the stretch assignment that's helpful. They can repair themselves and show up stronger.
Hmm.
But if you break yourself completely, not being prepared, leaning too much into a space that you've never actually ventured into, that might be damaging, and it's going to make you feel miserable.
Hmm.
So, do you want to look confident and be miserable at the same time? Is that the life you want to lead? It's something to ask yourself as well.
Yeah, but we have to admit that while you are building this practice, Alesh, you need to get out of your comfort zone. But to your point earlier, you cannot leave it, 100 steps. You need to take it step by step. So challenge yourself to slowly, gently poke the box and get your comfort zone to delay it, little and little, not to do all the steps all at once, because then it is overwhelming, and then you are going to basically not want to try again. Yeah.
Plus one on that.
Hmm.
Actually, I see that we have questions rolling in, so we should I think start picking it up, Carmen.
Hmm.
And there's one that's for you in here. I'm gonna put it on screen, and I'm gonna apologize first because I'm gonna totally butcher this name. So I'm gonna say Shashri. I hope you recognize a butchered version of your name. Thank you so much for the question. You have actually two questions there on screen. I'm going to read them anyway, and we're going to answer them one by one.
Hmm.
So the first question is it possible to reprogram the subconscious by hypnosis?
Hmm. Yes.
Carmen, what do you say about that?
Yes, that's absolutely the purpose of hypnosis. Now, the beliefs that we make are in the subconscious mind, always. So then, when we have a problem and we go to the root cause is always a belief. But what is a belief? It's actually a pattern of thought that is actually helping us to function in this world. It's like an if then statement, it's a conclusion that we made, right? For example, um, if I am pleasing others, I can be loved. Yeah, that's a belief. If I'm not pleasing others, I cannot be loved. I'm not lovable. Okay, so then hypnosis goes in and is looking at that root cause and reprogramming that subconscious to say no, you don't have to please others. You can build healthy boundaries that lead to healthy relationships, and then you can basically build a good relationship with yourself because your worth is not in pleasing others, right? So the answer to the first question is absolutely it is, and that is actually the purpose of using hypnosis. It's not only discovering what happened in the past. It's fine that you discover, but then you need to fix it because otherwise you will keep going back to those discoveries. So to be helpful, yes, you need to reprogram the subconscious mind. Yeah.
Thank you, Carmen. I see we have a follow-up, which is about the long term. So the question is the result of hypnosis sustainable in long term, or one needs to undergo the hypnosis process on a regular basis?
hmm It Here my answer is it depends. It is so the result is long term. However, it really depends on how what is resolved is linked to other beliefs that one may have. Let me give you an example. If you go in and you discover that, okay, I need to do things perfectly, otherwise I'm not accepted. This is a belief. Yeah, perfectionists have this. If I don't do things perfectly, I'm not going to be accepted. Okay, so you go in and you say no, you don't have to do everything perfect. It's okay to done is better than perfect. It's okay to not have things done perfectly. You solve that. But if that was actually linked to I need the attention of others to feel that I belong, the next belief is going to pop up. So really this work in hypnosis and like any work with your mind and any work of self development, it is self discovery. So when you go and discover and fix one something, you will go ahead for a certain period of time, and then there will be another trigger directing you to go and fix another belief that is time and the moment for you to fix it. Yeah. So to answer the question, yes, it is sustainable long term, but be mindful that the beliefs are interconnected because it's our reference system to the world. So once you fix one, that may trigger some changes that are going to invite the person to go in and look at other beliefs that need to be fixed. I also use neurolinguistic programming. So in the practice that I'm doing for hypnotherapy, I'm actually using rapid transformational therapy, which is a method that is invented by Marissa Peer. I was trained personally by her, and this is the hypnosis is combined with neurolinguistic programming because once you go in hypnosis and you discover the root cause, then you can repeat that message to your mind until the message sticks. I said earlier that the mind learns by repetition, right? So I basically give all my clients, they have a recording done by myself telling them how wonderful they are, how well they are doing, and basically helping their transformation be sustainable long term. So I hope that answered the question. If not, I'm not going anywhere, so I'm still reachable on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Sushri or Sashri, if you have any follow up questions, feel free to reach out directly.
Perfect. Thank you, Carmen. And I'm thinking I'm going to make you record an empowering message at the end so people can replay it from this recording.
Actually, on
But
my website, which is displayed on my label, it's
oh
good that
yeah,
you mention it. So if you go to actiontaker.me, on the front page, there is actually such a recording. I created one that is basically available on the website for download. It is to wire your mind for success. So it's quite generic. It's a guided meditation, very relaxing. I'm told by many people that they can fall asleep really well using it. So everyone in the audience is invited to go and check it out.
perfect. Let's move to another question. I'm going to bring it on screen and read it for us. Haha.
hmm
So Philip is asking,
Mhm.
what do you say to clients who have been told they need more executive presence or charisma?
Thank you so much for this question, Philip. This makes me smile because I actually had one executive. He is a director in a bank in Switzerland, and he had this feedback from his manager saying, "Hey, you need to get more charisma." Now, again, that is something that is not. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens when the person becomes comfortable with themselves. Because when people are at ease with themselves and that confidence is really genuine, that's when they start showing their personal style. And what helps in this case, and this is my answer to you, Philip, is when the person stops taking themselves so seriously, that's when charisma pops up. Every person has charisma to a certain extent. The more we take ourselves seriously, the more we cover it. Okay? In other words, people that are charismatic, why are they so charismatic? Because they are very relatable. They make jokes. They are reachable. They are very friendly to other people. And this is what they hide behind the scenes. They are very at ease with themselves. They are not perfectionists, so they accept themselves as they are. They have confidence and they don't take themselves so seriously because it is okay to fail. It is okay for the most horrible thing to happen to you. It's okay to go through tough experiences. It's okay to do stupid things. Yeah, because your actions don't define you as a person, right? So really, if you just tune down that seriousness, just and you give you a notch, I think that's the secret. And I actually found really nice transformations with my clients that had this. Um, so practice is the first one, but then yeah, relax a bit. Life is we sometimes takes life too seriously, I think. So
I want to add to this actually. So it's spot on, the serious versus not serious. Like I've been working with senior managers, and I've seen a lot of data regarding participant feedback of the events we are running, and I can tell you that we have leaders who are not natural born speakers. They are not entertainers, and they still have a lot of gravitas. And we see the numbers. We see how much the audience appreciates the expertise, the knowledge. If you think about it, I don't know, what comes to mind now is Yoda from Star Wars. I mean, is he eloquent speaker? No, not so much, right? Is he a sex symbol? He's not. But he's entertaining to watch. He's got some wisdom to share, and I guess audience feedback now suggests that that is a possible way to go. So that's one thing that's important. And last bit to this, it can work both ways. I've seen speakers, and I'm not going to name any names here, but I've seen the same speaker uh, presenting relaxed, without notes, speaking from the heart. And it was a very different experience than when the very same speaker showed up tense and really tried hard to make sure that he doesn't, mispronounce, misspell, garble the message. And it was much, much worse. So even the people who you think are there, you put them on a pedestal, they have moments when they may actually lose this touch, this charisma that you are attributing to them.
yeah, that is very very true. And we speak a lot about speaking, but showing up with confidence is not limited to speaking. And I wanted to touch on this very very quickly because there are many people that would be much more comfortable in writing. They may be much more comfortable with other type of interaction. So showing up with confidence does not always mean that you have to go and speak. It can be helping a friend that needs the help. When someone is really needing the help and you take over and say I'm going to help you, that's showing up, right? If you as a manager tell your one of your team members I've got your back, Whatever you do, I'm exposing you to something uncomfortable, but just know I've got your back. I'm always right behind you, and I'm going to support you no matter what. That's also a matter of showing up. Yeah, and it can be verbal, it can be in writing. There are various other platforms to do it, right? So it's really, really important not to, I think, not to exclude other ways of interacting, because yeah, speaking is it happens a lot. It's our main way of communication, but not everyone is going to be exposed all the time to big audiences, or to, not everyone has an executive function, which is absolutely fine. But in the day-to-day life, showing up with confidence actually has different elements. And again, it's going to be different in different circumstances. So
That's right. And actually, I see you have another question, but before we go to that, I want to address a comment that we have in here from earlier from Devansh Gupta.
mhm.
And again, Devansh, apologies if I'm mispronouncing it. But what you say is, Devansh says, I believe that skills and confidence both go hand in hand. I would say they might, but they don't need to be. Like there is a we have like both me and Carmen, we work in a multinational environment, and this means that we come across people with different upbringings. I come from a culture when um, the like modesty was considered a great value. It was very important not to brag, not to overstate whatever your achievements are. There are countries where this is different, right? Let's say the North American approach with instilling confidence into kids from early age might be different. So you might have people who are confident or show up confident. They might not have the skills. What I would suggest to look up is something called Dunning-Kruger effect, which actually shows that there are people who have a lot of knowledge but consider themselves to be average, while some people who have very, very little knowledge tend to overestimate their level of skill or capability. Anything to add to this, Carmen? How do you see this? Does confidence go hand to hand with skill?
It sometimes does, but it doesn't always have to be coupled. So I think, I sort of concur with what you were saying. I think what Devansh is mentioning, and it really depends on how he thought about the question, but it this actually reminds me of the definition of the self-efficacy, because self-efficacy and confidence are very similar notions. Self-efficacy is actually trusting your skills and trusting what you've experienced before, trusting your mindset in achieving a certain goal. And in the workplace, especially, we are more prone to apply self-efficacy, because in the workplace we are hired for a particular skill set. Yeah. So self-efficacy is very goal-driven, and that would be the definition of the confidence at work. Yeah. My favorite definition of confidence is, the confidence is actually a belief. You cannot measure it, as I said it, but it's the belief that you can figure things out. Yeah? Confidence is the belief that you can figure things out. And that belief that you can figure things out means you trust yourself. Yeah? You trust yourself that you are going to find a way, right? If it's related to a goal, then it goes into self-efficacy, and then indeed you need to link it to the skills. But if it's not related to goal, if it's a new situation, if it's a situation of life that you have to overcome where you simply don't have the skills, it doesn't mean that you cannot be confident. As long as you have this belief that no matter what, you will figure it out, even if you do not know in the moment how you are going to figure it out, that's actually true confidence. So you didn't ask me the definition, Alish. Did I take you by surprise with this definition?
You did, and I actually like what you did there, and to kind of build a bridge to the events and what I've seen speakers doing. So um, I've seen leaders over and over again being extremely anxious about Q&A segments of large scale events. Like,
Mm.
oh my God, what if they're gonna ask something I can't answer? What if they're gonna ask something I don't like?
Mm.
What if they're gonna publicly,
Hmm.
show that they disagree with me?
Right.
And most of these things actually relate to what Carmen was talking about. It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of not being prepared, fear of not having the script. But that's life. Part of the script could be being ready for unexpected questions.
Mm. Indeed, indeed. And that belief that you can figure it out, it's actually working irrespective of the level of your skill. But again, confidence is very different in different circumstances, right? So you can be very confident in the workplace, but then you're not confident in your planning abilities to plan a trip for your family, right? Because planning may not be your strong skill, right? I don't have a GPS in my brain. So if I don't have my phone with maps to show me where I'm going, I can go on the same street 3 times and say I've never been here, right? So I'm never going to plan a trip, for example, because I don't have the skills, and I also don't have the confidence that I will figure things out because I know I cannot, right? So this is one area, but then in other areas I know that I can basically share and drive others, right? So it is, yeah, it is relative, but it is indeed a balance that one is able to keep by knowing themselves and knowing very well their superpowers, their strengths, but also their areas of improvement, and being able to admit them, of course.
Indeed. I'll have two more questions coming up,
Hmm.
so I'm gonna tackle them, and then we're gonna wind down. We're gonna end around the top of the hour. So the first question is from Ahmed,
Mm.
and again, I apologize for maybe mispronouncing this. Ahmed is asking, what do you think is the best way to build confidence when on call with native speakers?
Hmm.
So I'm gonna let Carmen address it briefly. Before I kind of do a plug here, we actually have a session you can already find on my LinkedIn profile. It's going to happen on 22nd of June with a coach that specializes on public speaking for non-native speakers.
Mm.
And I'm eager to learn from her because I'm a non-native speaker. I do a lot of mistakes, as you can hear. And Ahmed, I would recommend you to check it out and maybe join that one if you're not completely satisfied with what we have to offer here, because that's like a more specialized topic in here. But anyway, Carmen,
Hmm.
do you want to pick this up?
Hmm.
Do you have something to recommend?
Yeah. Um, I've been in this environment myself because I'm not a native speaker. So you can take your non nativeness in English as a shortcoming or as an advantage. So if you ask this question, Hamed, I think that you basically speak more than one language, right? Because your English is not native, but then you have another native language, right? So you are already basically having a more diverse way of communication. Each language means that you are able to speak with the people that speak the respective language. Yeah. So Alish made a good point that his upcoming event is going to give you very actionable points. But what can you do to become very confident is really starting small and building up. If in that call, for sure, you can find friends and you have allies on your side. Yeah. So before the call, prepare. So preparation is of essence. So what I would recommend is connect with one or two and say, look, my level of English is not very good. Do you mind keeping your language using very simple words? Okay. I've seen in some companies that they do for non-natives, they actually put the questions or they do subtitles so that people can read if they don't understand the pronunciation, right? So that's another way to build confidence. And Ahmed, just know that you need to take it step by step. Okay, trust yourself. And if you set your goal, every call to speak at least once in that call, no matter how bad you speak the language, okay? Even if you just say, yes, I understood, or just a simple sentence, just show up, okay? And build it gradually. And after each call, if there were any words that you did not know or you thought you mispronounced, go ahead and do a little bit of study so that you can basically build your skills in the same time as you build your confidence. But confidence starts within. Yeah. So that's basically I think the best way to do it. It's a journey, and in 1 or 2 years' time, when you're going to look back, you're going to think, okay, I really came far here. But you will only do that with practice, and every single time trusting yourself and congratulating yourself for every time that you showed up and you contributed. So I hope that helps. Alish, do you mind sharing? Do you have anything else to add to this?
I do, and as in your case, it's more generic advice. So, Hamed, I'm going to actually pair it up with the question from Amreen, who is asking, "What do you say about overconfidence? How can we keep balance in it?" So, uh, there's I think one way to feel confident or project yourself as confident. What was the question earlier? Was, how to do that when you're not a native speaker? You can remove the significance from that. So if you say, "Hey, I'm not a native speaker. I may need to speak slowly," if you call it out, you take away its power. You take away the significance from that. So that's something that might help with any level of impediment that you think you might have. But going to Amreen, the overconfidence here, I would I would kind of refer back to what I mentioned earlier, and I put it in comments in here. The Dunning-Kruger effect is something I really recommend to read into. By the way, it's the origin story of this phenomenon is really fun. Look into that. Um, Overconfidence through this lens is lack of self-awareness, as maybe something that Carmen explained also as efficacy. So we can talk about a mismatch between how people see themselves and how they are seen by their environment. That could be perceived as overconfidence, and in that case, the question for me is, what are we trying to fix? Are you trying to fix the speaker, someone in your environment who's overconfident? And in that case, I wouldn't try. I don't think that's the time well spent. Are you trying to fix yourself? I doubt that, because if you are overconfident, you probably don't see this as a problem. So maybe you can give us a little bit more context in the comment. How do you see this, Carmen?
Overconfidence comes from a place where you think you've got it, and then the pitfall of it is because you project an image of confidence, you don't ask for help. So in order to balance it, you need to be careful when you are at the point where you do not know the answers but you don't ask for support. That's when you are overconfident. So always have your openness to learning and openness to support from others in check. This is how you can keep the balance, right? Because you can, if this happens actually in real life, you start in a certain situation with confidence, you go in with a lot of it, and then you realize, oh, I don't know the answers to all the questions, and then you have two options. You can either say, okay, I'm going to go and ask for support. I'm going to go and study. I'm going to research and find the answer. So that's a normally balanced confidence. Or you will say, oh no, I cannot change the image that I projected, because if I do, then people are going to think I'm not good enough, I'm not professional enough, I'm an imposter. Then you basically pretend that you know things and you can do things that you actually lack the skill or the method for. And that's when people actually will discover you at some point, right? I was telling earlier that you need to be careful how you fake it. Well, overconfidence has its pitfall. So as long as you keep your learning and asking for support in check, I think that's a good way to safeguard and keep balance.
Totally. And asking for support, if you're not sure if you're kind of suffering with overconfidence, it might mean asking for feedback. I mean,
Good one.
ask your audience, how did I do? Was it, did I give you your money's worth? Or was it just in my head that this was a good performance? You'll know. Luckily, we do that with all my events. We kind of collect feedback. We use surveys, so the numbers will show very, very soon. Carmen, I was wondering, I know we are at the top of the hour, but I have one more question in here. Are you okay if we
Sure.
pick it up?
Yes,
And then
absolutely.
we're going to wind down. So let's put it in here. And that might be someone who's not in our network, Carmen. It's a LinkedIn
Hmm.
user. So let's see. What is the most efficient way to build confidence? How to get out from our comfort zone in order to speak freely without any fear?
Hmm.
Okay, I'll take a step really, really quickly here. Dear LinkedIn user, I see this as a contradiction in here. So the question would be, what do you really want? Do you want to do the thing? Do you want to lean into the discomfort, or do you want to manage the feeling? So if you want to lean into the discomfort might be fear. And as Carmen said earlier, if that's your goal, do it with fear. Do it with fear, and then you're doing it. If, on the other hand, you want to manage this discomfort, you want to manage the fear, then that's a different story completely. But if you really want to achieve, I would suggest, yeah, do it with fear.
Hmm.
What do you say, Carmen?
Yeah, I would agree. I want to add a short comment on the first part, which is what is the most efficient way to build confidence, because I really want everyone in the audience to have a solid takeaway as we part ways. Before that, I've seen a question related to hypnosis in the comments. The answer is yes, you can do hypnosis online. It's as effective as in person. So that is absolutely, that can be done. I think 80% of my clients are remote because I cannot be in the locations where they are, and it's just much more convenient to do it from the comfort of your home. So absolutely, it can be done. I think it was Julia who asked this. So back to the LinkedIn user question: what is the most efficient way to build confidence? Practice. The way you build confidence is you make it familiar. Yeah, our brain brings us closer to what is familiar and rejects what's unfamiliar. Yeah, that's the actually the essence of change. So to start building your confidence, practice, make it familiar, make it a familiar feeling to be confident. How do you start? With self kindness. How do you start? Positive self talk. Stop beating yourself up. Okay, stop telling yourself names. Stop saying to yourself that you're not good enough, that you're an idiot, that you missed it, that you are never going to have the career that you want, or the family that you want, or the goals that you want, right? So do a positive self talk. Accept yourself as you are. You don't have to be perfect. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Be your best cheerleader. And then cultivate a growth mental model, a growth mindset, where you always learn, you always are open to try some new things, always open to experience, and always willing to, even if you fail, to get up and continue. That's the essence of confidence. It is a journey, right? So you need to start somewhere. Start with the smallest practice, which is really be kind to yourself. Speak to yourself kindly. And then you are going to be able to speak to the world kindly.
Exactly, and that's actually also the way to take power from your fear, little by little. The fear mostly is the fear of the unknown. By practicing, you make it familiar, as Carmen said, and the fear can't coexist with something you know. It turns into something else. It might be discomfort, it might be pain, but it's no longer fear in its essence.
True. So true. Alish, we are over time. Yeah.
I know, and I see there's another question which we're not going to tackle today. So, Sudarsan, I see your question in here. You might, by all means, approach Carmen or myself on LinkedIn, send us direct message,
Hmm.
reach out to us. I think for this one, it would be Carmen
Yes.
as a potential SME, not
Hmm.
me. And that's what I would actually invite everyone to do. So if you want some support with event design, with team engagement, I'm your person. Ping me, direct message me. We have a talk. And if you want to gain more self-confidence, if you're looking for coaching or hypnotherapeutical support, Carmen is your expert in there. Am I missing something, Carmen? I'm going to put on the screen again your information in here so everyone can see.
Yeah. Thank you so
And
much. Yeah.
Okay,
I just
wonderful.
wanted to thank everyone for joining. It's been an honor. Thank you so much for giving us your time and your attention. Hopefully, you got some good actionable tips that you can take away and implement immediately in your life. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you, Alish. Thank you so much. So yeah, we are mostly on LinkedIn. I'm also on my website. Go to my website actiontaker.me and get the recording to Wire Your Mind for Success. Reach out via the website, via LinkedIn to either myself for coaching, Alish for designing the best event ever. And yeah, let's take it from here. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a lovely rest of the day.